once you've made that decision, God shows you how. God shows me how, what to do. Once I've changed my mind, made that decision for love. We need a slide up here. First slide. Thank you. I do, but I want that up there first. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I love you so much. Was that a loving act? I don't know. You decide. It was coming from me. So you decide to receive when it comes to you. And you decide each moment, whatever it is, that you are performing that act out of love. It's your decision. God shows you how. The universe, Spirit, always will guide you. But you have to open your mind to Spirit. Let all you do be done in love, no matter what it is. That's my decision. No, I don't know how, but God shows me how. Then I do. All of a sudden, well, I'm starting to know how in this situation. I don't know how until I start to do it. It's like stepping out on a bridge that's not there yet, and then it appears before you. And you're able to walk out on that bridge. The next step appears before you. Don't worry. Oh, now I'm not even looking down anymore, because each step I take, the bridge appears before me. The way is made for me. Each step I take. Oh, I'm going to fall. No, I've had some practice now. I've taken 3 or 4 steps on that bridge that wasn't there before. So I'm okay. Oh, I need to back up. That's all right. I know that it's still there. Once you've taken one step in love, that is solid. That bridge is built. That's going to be there for you. You can't, it's not that you can't go back. God can't go back. You've already been shown a way. You've been brought this far. And if you've been brought this far, you have to be patient because love is patient. You have to be kind because love is kind. It doesn't envy. It doesn't worry about what anybody else has. It's just completely grateful for what it has today, what you have today. So if you're in love, you're in gratitude. There's a wonderful lesson in A Course in Miracles that says, love is the way I walk in gratitude. And that's what I was doing. There is no bridge. There's nothing there. But I'm willing to stand on that bridge that has already been built for me through love and take that next step in confidence and courage that it will be there. Isn't that amazing? I can't see it, but it's there already. Love doesn't boast. It's not proud. Say, look, I made this beautiful bridge. No, God made the bridge for you. Life, universe made that bridge for you, made that road before you. You did not create the way to God. God created the way for you. And so you're not rude, you're not self-seeking, you're not easily angered because you're giving all the glory and all the gratitude to God mind, to the Spirit. And you don't keep record of people's wrongs because what happens when you do that? You're holding that grievance in your heart. You're the only one affected by it. And you always protect, and you always hope, and you always persevere because you know love never fails. You will always persevere in the ways of love. When things are not looking like you should, when hatred is being evident in the world around you, you cannot respond with more hatred because hatred will only paralyze you. Hatred paralyzes life. This is Martin Luther King. I feel it's appropriate. I fashioned this message before I looked at the news last night. So it was pretty amazing to me that I picked quotes from Martin Luther King and there was big racist demonstrations going on. So what has changed? Maybe it's just you. Maybe you've come to a place where the truth is self-evident in your experience, but others haven't caught up yet. That's why we need you to remember that love is going to paralyze your life, and love will release it as well. Hatred confuses your life, but it releases it as well. Hatred will darken your life, but love will illuminate your life for you. And you will be an illumination for the world because love has illuminated you. You can't go out and illuminate anybody. You're the only one who needs to be illuminated. And the demonstration of that will inspire others to want to be in your vibration. You cannot change anything outside of yourself. All the work is within. And if quantum physics has any valuable gift to give us in the modern age, it's that the world we see is a projection of our minds. What's happening out there is only what we feel about ourselves. Because the power of our mind is projecting that world that we see. It's not actually out there, it's in here. The world isn't out there. Don't try to go out there and change the world. Change the world within, and the world out there will change automatically because love will release it. Love will harmonize it, and love will illuminate it for you. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Abraham Lincoln, he said, "I destroy my enemies by making them my friends." That's a good way to do it, because once they're your friends, they're no longer your enemies. Hatred. Oh, the Buddha said the same thing. I wonder where Martin Luther King got some of his inspiration. Hatred does not cease through hatred at any time. Hatred ceases through love because this is an unalterable law of the universe. And that's why it works. And that's what unity is founded on, is spiritual law, spiritual principle. That's why we like to look at God itself as spiritual principle. And in Matthew, the way shore, Jesus asks us to love your enemies. Bless those that curse you. Do good to those that hate you. Pray for those that persecute you. Now that seems like a tall order sometimes, doesn't it? It seems like something that's impossible, but remember, it's not you doing it, it's going to be God. And it is a truth that some of you have already accepted, that if you love your enemies, as if love is the only way, that your enemies will no longer be your enemies. I want to read something from a book from my ministerial studies called Leading Out Loud, which is a very amazing book. And it says all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Then it is violently opposed. And then it is accepted as being self-evident. So what is self-evident to some of you here today is still being violently opposed by some others. Some are just ridiculing it, going, well, that's never going to work. We can't love our enemies. But we've been saying the same thing for 2,000 years. I'm a slow learner. I'm sorry. It took me a couple thousand years to actually get it. But I do get it. I have to love my enemies. And now I'm about it, doing it. I'm about loving everyone, just as Alan was smiling into the human race through his smiling, enlightened vision of himself and experience of himself. That's what we must do in the face of every circumstance, in every situation. And that's truly a demonstration of loving our enemies. Blessing those who are going to curse you and praying for those who persecute you. And so this is the new commandment that we were given, that we just love one another, right? As the Master loved, we are to love one another. And how the Master loved was to see everyone whole and perfect. Beyond the moment of conflict, illness, disease, death, and separation, the Master would see you in heaven. You will be with me this day in paradise. You are already with me, sitting at the right hand. See, here's the whole nature of the universe. The whole universe of love. And we are sitting at the right and the left. The male and the female. The yin and the yang. We are one thing. And in the middle of us, the whole harmonizing law of the universe of love resides. Because it isn't possible for love to be absent from anyone or any situation. And this is how you know that you're following the truth or following divine law. He says disciples, but it's really just following divine law, living in the principle. So just love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, all your being, all your strength. And then it's so simple. Once you're doing that, there's only one thing to do. Don't make it complicated. The only thing to do is love your neighbor. Every time I'm tempted to get all upset, to be fearful, to be angry, I got to stop and say, am I loving my neighbor? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I forgot the first part. To love God and to love myself. So I'll go back and do that. Get into your prayer and meditation, and then go out and love your neighbor. Get your prayer and meditation life going again. Stronger, deeper, longer. Maybe make your connection a little more often with God, and it'll be easier to love your neighbor. It's interesting that whenever there was a question about the commandments, what did he say? There is no commandment greater than these. To love God and love your neighbor. And it's just that simple. Love is my decision right here and right now. Doesn't matter what you did yesterday. Well, I've been loving you for 1,000 years. What about today? Or maybe tomorrow we'll have love in the world. What about today? Will you be the demonstration of love today? This is all I'm asking. Where are you within the fabric of your own life? And within the fabric of your own view of what the universe is, what you are, what God is. Where are you in that picture? And what are you doing today? Within that fabric of space-time. What are you doing to be the Christ, to be the light of the world? I used to have a poster framed on my wall before I went out the door saying, what will you do to bring more light to the world today? What miracles will you perform today? And also, part of it was, help me to perform the miracles that you want me to perform today. Divine Spirit, help me to do thy will. Because you created me to do thy will. And if I'm doing anything else, it's not really my will. It's just a complete mistake of who I am. So there's no greater commandment than these. To love the Spirit with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and then your neighbor as yourself. And this is the crux of the matter here. No one has seen God at any time with these eyes, with your perceptual eyes. You don't have a concept in your mind big enough to understand what God is. But if we love one another, God lives in us. And then we begin to understand what God really is. But it's only through loving one another. And that's how God's love is made complete in us. The King James Version, it says, that's how God's love is perfected in us. It's never really complete. It's being perfected each moment. And it's unfolding in greater and greater awareness each moment. It's being perfected in us. I love it. There's no stopping place to your love or to God's love. If we can't see love, if we can't see God, love is the only way that we will ever experience and see God. So love is my decision. Love is the only way to regain my faith in humanity. It's the only way that we're going to climb out as a species of the incredible conflicts that we see around us. It's raising the consciousness of the human species. Don't fall back into the old way of judging. Don't fall back into thinking that any of that has anything to do with who you really are, with your identity in reality. It doesn't. Because you are the holy, perfect child of God. You are the light of this world. Keep shining your light, please, because the world needs you. Make love your decision, right here, right now. Thank you. I love you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.